A very good morning to you, Dustyn.
Morning, Amritesh.
Thanks for joining the interview of HTBD, How to Do Business in Dubai.
Very welcome. Looking forward to it.
And I just get a vibe that you are the best person for this.
Well, hopefully I'll be able to add a few nuggets of value to the conversation.
Definitely. So why Dubai? Your love, life, laughter.
I grew up in Zimbabwe, so I'm actually used to living in different parts of the world. I tried the whole UK thing for about 16 years. Eventually, I had this itch to scratch that I wanted to explore more of the world. So I decided to move to Singapore. I spent 5 years in Singapore. Fell in love with the expat lifestyle. Singapore in Southeast Asia is a beautiful place to live. Yeah. But then ultimately had a kid, which grandparents struggle with the separation. So decided that we needed to be a little bit close to home. Yeah, Dubai kind of seemed like an awesome hub for business, especially. So very quick to get to the UK, but also super convenient to get anywhere in the world, right? You can pretty much get anywhere in the world on a single flight from Dubai.
That's true.
So yeah, from a business hub perspective, it just made sense, and yeah, pretty happy moving here. It's been a year and a half only, but love Dubai, love the lifestyle, love the weather, the opportunities to travel, and yeah, great food. So yeah, really cool place to be.
Okay, that's beautiful. So what's your job like?
Well, my job is, I own a company or a couple of companies, but one in particular we focus in on. And yeah, it's great. So we started a business about a year ago, just under a year ago. And very much first time as a business startup. I've worked for other startups, but as an employee, not as a founder. And it's been a long journey. I mean, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot. I think everyone always thinks, oh, I can go run a business, but when you actually go and do it, you learn by making mistakes a lot. So I think you need to be quite resilient and malleable to be able to see mistakes as learnings and kind of see the positive side of things. But yeah, it's great. We've been operating a year. We've now got nearly 5 people working for us, and seems to be going really well. Especially this region is a growth up and coming region. I run a technology consultancy, so tech is a big subject here, and yeah, I can't really complain. It's been fun.
That's great, super. So what do you think, how Dubai aids in creativity and innovation?
I think that's a really good question. I think on the face of it, Dubai is doing a lot to make this country an attractive place for companies to either move and have a regional office here, or start a company. I like to say it's easy. There's always the Dubai way of doing things, right? Which kind of involves a bit of paperwork, and sometimes a bit of time is needed. But if you're patient with that kind of stuff, and you're well prepared, and you take time to understand how things need to be set up, then it's actually a really great place to set up a business, or have a regional office. And I think the opportunity, not just in Dubai, but the wider GCC region is huge, especially if you look at markets like Saudi, the amount of investment that's going into that region. Within 5 years, I wouldn't be surprised if a few big cities in Riyadh, in Saudi, are on par with Dubai. So yeah, I think it's a really exciting region to do business, but also beyond this region, it's an awesome place to be located if you do need to run a global team, or if you need to travel a lot to either Asia or the Europe or US. It's kind of bang in the middle, and it's super easy to get to all those places.
So you get to participate in different kind of events. Do you hold your own events, or do you think that Dubai is one of those markets which help you participate at global level, being in Dubai?
Yeah, I think there's two answers to that. One, it's an awesome place to run events, except if you try and do it in the summer, it's a little bit uncomfortable. But there's so many options to run events, and all of the venues are awesome, affordable. They all have that wow factor. So you walk into the building, and if you're not on the balcony overlooking downtown, you're in JBR or JLT overlooking the marina or the Palms. So it's quite picturesque. It's really fun. The other side of it is the way of doing business in this region is very much networking face to face. I think especially after COVID, right, we're all completely zoomed out. None of us want to sit through another online meeting. So that relationship you're able to build, even when you're in the lift with someone on the way up to the meeting room, it's just not. You can't compare that to other parts of the world. And Dubai just makes it super easy to do that. And it's such an important. If you want to get business done here, you have to be in front of people and meeting them and building that community around your product or your services. So
what about Dubai aiding startups? Do you think that startups have good time coming up in Dubai, or it's a difficult market to bring up a startup in Dubai? What's your opinion?
Look, it's affordable in comparison to other parts of the world. I would say they've made it super easy. Some of the things we've struggled with were again more frustrating because you're like back and forth all the time. Was like setting up a bank account was just a little bit hard, right? But once you got to set up, the banking is actually quite good. But the actual setup of a business, I'd say within 3-4 weeks we had done it. There's loads of agencies that can help you do that, and they just know what they're doing, so they literally ask you to provide all the paperwork, then you have to go do it. Nice things like if you're a business owner, you can automatically qualify for a golden visa, so you kind of take care of your presence in the region should you wish to stay here for a long time. So yeah, I'd say it's relatively easy in comparison to I was involved with setting up a company in Singapore. Very complicated, very hard, lots of rules, regulations, red tape. Whereas here there isn't as much of that. And I've got 2 companies with 2 Dubai mainland licenses. So
mainland licenses.
Maybe that's why it's a little bit longer for us.
Yeah,
if you go for a
free zone, it's
like a week or 2.
Yeah,
you're looking.
Sometimes not even a week, like 2 days, or you have your license in your hands.
Yeah.
So free zone I think it's a lot quicker. That's true. Mainland is a bit of trickier, there's a bit of paperwork involved, but free zones are a lot faster.
Yeah, and they've even changed a few rules now, like you used to have a local sponsor.
Yes.
Whereas we don't anymore. We were one of the first companies to go, right, we want to own all of our business. So myself and my business partner Luke own 50-50 of the business. And so that kind of frees up a lot of options for us, allows us to make decisions quickly. The fact that we've got a Dubai mainland license means we can work with government if we want to, or if they want to work with us, we have to. Sometimes it's the other way around, but yeah, I think we've set up the business very much with not just a short-term goal, but we're looking 2, 3, 4, 5 years in advance, and what do we want our business to look like then? So we started the planning and the setup with that in mind.
What in your opinion, because you have worked in both the markets, Singapore being the window to the Southeast Asia, and now Dubai, window to the Middle East. So if you draw a comparison, what do you say good about Dubai and not so about Singapore? You mentioned that startups are much easier to establish in Dubai. Anything else you find really interesting about Dubai and probably not that in Singapore?
No, I love them both for different reasons. I had a very happy 5 years in Singapore. I'd say one of the reasons we actually even thought of leaving in the first place was just how Dubai handled things like COVID. I think in comparison to anywhere in the world,
that's a big compliment.
My personal opinion is Dubai did very well, right?
Super,
it was 3-4 months maybe maximum of shutdown, but then they were very quick to open borders again, bring back in the tourism. Whereas Singapore, not just Singapore, but quite a few.
Singapore, Malaysia, everyone was.
It was draconian style lockdown, very, very restricted. Not allowed out your house unless it's just two of you. But it was for 2 years, right? So after 2 years, you were exhausted from it. I think Dubai maybe caters for expats a bit better. There's a lot of stuff here that is specifically for expats, whereas Singapore and a lot of the Asian countries, which is fair enough, they look to take care of the locals first, and you're very much a second-class citizen in places like Singapore, which is sometimes hard, especially because it was a small island for 2 years, and there's not much to do in Singapore in comparison to here. So I think Dubai there's a lot more space. But then the other stuff I loved about Singapore is it was just super easy to travel, right? There was from landing on the plane to being in a taxi. You would be annoyed if it was longer than 30 minutes. It was so quick through the airport, super efficient. And like you've got Southeast Asia is beautiful. We were always in like Bali or Thailand or the Maldives or Japan or Hong Kong or even Australia. So it was a really cool place to experience a lot of different cultures, and every Southeast Asian country is different. Like they're not just all the same. They're very, very different, and all have their beautiful cultures, which I'm always very interested in learning about. So
that's nice. That's a very beautiful comparison you have drawn. Bringing out the best of both the places. So, one last question. Take a deep breath. And one final advice for someone who wants to come and do business in Dubai, wants to live or work in Dubai.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie and say starting your own business is easy, right? I think everyone loves the idea of doing it, especially after many, many years of selling my soul for other people to make lots of money. I got to the point where I was like, well, should I be doing this for myself? I think you should do it with a plan in mind, and you've got to identify a gap in the market or know that you're offering a service that has a long-term revenue stream. You've also got to be prepared to not earn any money for a long time, right? So we haven't taken any money out of the business since we incorporated. That's our decision, and we've got the personal savings to survive on that, but it does take a long time to build. You've got to be patient, you've got to remain positive, be really good at dealing with ambiguity, because you might think, right, we're going this direction, and then all of a sudden you discover that that's not working, so you need to pivot and go another direction, and that's every week, right? You're constantly, so anyone who struggles with ambiguity wouldn't be great at kind of being an entrepreneur. But the other side of it is it's such a fun journey when you're doing something for yourself and you believe in what you're doing for. Like, it's such a fulfilling feeling and sense of satisfaction where I wake up every day and I love what I do. I genuinely love what I do. Where I've worked in companies previously, and when you get that feeling on a Monday morning, you're like, oh no, I've got to go to work. And for me, that's really important. I've always been a huge believer in you need to work to live rather than live to work, and that your health and happiness is way more important than any job, right? And if you ever get to the point where you're feeling like I've just explained about that, oh no, then that's probably the time where you should be thinking, right, this isn't for me, because you've got a very short existence on this earth, and if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then you're just wasting precious time. And I think the other side of the entrepreneurship is the freedom that it gives you, right? So I'm a dad of a 3-year-old daughter, and I love being a dad, right?
Beautiful.
Where I was working for someone else, I wasn't really a present dad. So this has given me the opportunity to do the drop off, do the pickup. Like, if I want to take an afternoon off to take my daughter to do something, a daddy-daughter date, then we can do that, right? And I don't really have to answer for someone.
That's right.
But the other side of it is you also have to be very disciplined, because it's quite easy to just take it easy. And if you're of that kind of mindset where you're not a self-starter, you don't get up every morning prepared for the day, thinking about what needs to be done, then you need to put in time, hours, effort, energy to make it work. If you do it half-hearted, you're never going to succeed. And I don't know what the numbers are, but it's a very small percentage of startups that actually make it. And I think you have to be of a certain kind of mindset to be able to do the extra mile that it requires to get things done, because at the end of the day you'll be a victim of your own effort, right? It'll work if you put in the hard graft, and it won't work if you're being lazy and
lazy about it,
being slow. And I love the phrase, the urgent bird catches the worm. Not the early bird, the urgent bird. You have to act with urgency. You have to be quick to move, quick to make decisions, and then just back yourself and believe in what you're doing. I'd also say having a good business partner is really important. I feel very lucky. Luke and I work very, very well together. So if you're thinking about doing business with someone, make sure that your skill sets complement each other, because you don't, and then you have to split and share the workload. So having a very open, transparent, honest relationship with your business partner, making it clear that, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is what you should do, do you agree, do you disagree? Also, if there's ever any elements of frustration, like you've got to be able to have those conversations up front, right? Don't let it start stewing in the back of your head and let it build up into a resentment, because there's going to be points at where you don't agree on things and you don't see things in the same way, but you have to be able to have that honest conversation and have a really high emotional intelligence to be able to not get upset or get emotional or get kind of annoyed about it, because sometimes you also have to put your hands up and go, do you know what, okay, I don't necessarily agree, but let's try it your way this time, and then next time it's my turn to make the call on this, and so that's really been helpful for us, is having that strong working relationship.
Awesome, super.
Yeah,
so that's nice of an advice. I think a lot of business owners who would want to move to Dubai would love to listen to you about all this, and thanks for joining the interview. Thanks
very
a
good,
lot.
thank you.